Hello and welcome to Staying Ahead of the Curve. I'm Jeff Snyder, Vice President and Senior Consultant with the firm Cammack Retirement Group. This program is designed to bring to you, the viewer, the latest trends and concepts in the U.S. retirement system. So let's get started. Emily Wrightson is a consultant with Cammack Retirement Group. Emily, thank you so much for joining us today.
Jeff, thank you for having me.
So we just sat through a great presentation, a great day of collaboration. And one of the areas that you focus on, I think, in your practice is vendor consolidation. Can you talk a little bit about what you see as the best practice and current trends in that particular instance?
It's a great question, Jeff. We see a lot of things going on in the industry today, things like, a focus on fees, a focus on investments, a focus on making sure that participants understand that how much they need to save and are they saving enough. We, as you mentioned, see a lot of vendor consolidation, and that's something that we expect to continue, especially since 2009, and I'm talking just the nonprofit and kind of public plans that what we mostly work with. Since 2009, that's been a huge focus, and I think all of these trends are really driven by the question of how do we make this plan better? For every single employer or client that we work with, the answer to that is a little bit different. But in the case of the state of Washington, it was vendor consolidation, and their ultimate goal was to bring enhancements to their participants, to simplify. They're going to have one website, one call center, one statement, and this to kind of lay the platform for future enhancements. And I think it really makes for a really strong and powerful program, in the single vendor setting.
And inertia is a really, really strong force, and generally people don't like change, and it's an aversion to change that often is a barrier to consolidation. Is that what you see? I mean, you're often having to work with committees and board members to talk about the benefits, pros and cons. In addition, you also have to work with other entities within the organization that with whom you're working, correct?
Inertia is huge, because if you've had 3 vendors since 1990 or 1980 or 1970, some of these plans we work with are really old and they've been around for a long time. Then, a lot of our clients don't want to upset their population by taking away choice. But what research has shown us, what behavioral finance has shown us, is that less choice is better. That participants get overwhelmed. You open up, you walk in as a new employee. You've got 3 different books in front of you, or 4, and then you say, okay, I'm going to go with this record keeper to, this one for my retirement plan. You open that up, and you have 100 different investments. So there's so much choice, and participant confusion is a huge thing from the plan sponsor employer side. The administration is really challenging, and then from expenses, economies of scale, putting all of those assets and consolidating all of those assets into one record keeper can drive down cost.
And pulling it all together really is to the benefit of the employee, right? Being able to take their balances together, if they have a defined benefit plan or they have outside investments, really pulling it together and putting it into one big picture is going to drive better results. Is that not true?
Again, I've mentioned it in other conversations, but it comes back to how do we help employees know if they're ready for a retirement? How do we tell employees you're on track or you're not? And if you have all of these little pieces everywhere, it's going to be really hard for you. So to bring everything together, if they've got a DB program, to feed that into a statement, to have the multiple plans shown, and to ultimately, hopefully, give them some kind of statement that says you're on track or you're not, and here's what you need to do to get there. That's what we're seeing in the industry today.
But and traditionally, advisors, consultants have really focused on investments and focused on fees. Maybe draft an investment policy statement, maintain it, loan policy. Maybe they get into the administration. But really, these plans are all about communication, education. At the end of the day, you build a great plan, but you got to get participants, employees, to do the right thing.
You do, and how do you do that? Because participants are notorious for, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll save tomorrow. I'll go to the gym tomorrow. I'll eat healthy tomorrow. Everything is tomorrow. How do you get them to take action and start saving today? And so, there's different plan provisions that can, be used to encourage people to save more. There's automatic enrollment. There's automatic escalation, where you increase, a deferral percentage every year. Automatic enrollment is just automatically putting them into the plan at at a certain deferral rate. So there's cutting edge, tools that you can use to encourage participation.
And eliminate that analysis by paralysis or paralysis by analysis that is so common, especially in those 403B plans with whom we're working. In your estimation, how important is communication education? I know, you and I have worked together for quite some time. We often focus efforts on investments, fees, but from your estimation, from your experience, how important is plan communication? And is that really, are you better off having one vendor as opposed to multiple vendors?
Communication is huge, because what do we see in the market today? We see a crisis, and you know this. You've written about this. You've talked about this. People just don't save enough. So how do we reach all of these different groups? And that's one of the biggest challenges we see with the communication plans. Is you've got so many different demographics. There's people that are new to the plan. There's people that are mid-career, people close to retirement, people in retirement, women, men, different levels of investment knowledge, different understandings of the plan. So how do you encapsulate all of this? And that's where communications come in, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that people are saving enough and preparing for their retirement. So a good communication plan, an effective communication plan is so huge and so important. That's what we were trying to accomplish today with the collaboration.
Great. Emily Wrightson, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks. I want to thank you all very much for joining us on this edition of Staying Ahead of the Curve. Hope you enjoyed the panelists and the insight that we learned today, and I hope you tune in again for more Staying Ahead of the Curve. Thank you, and goodbye.